Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to our next virtual assembly. Sorry this one's a wee bit late, but we've been so busy. And this week we decided it would be lovely to focus on reflections, because this has been a really tough year for the children, for families, for the staff, where we've had lots of changes due to the pandemic. But we're nearly there, and we've got there, and we are still smiling, and for that I'm really proud. I'm really proud of everybody. And you can see the wee picture here that Mrs. Bradley's got her magnifying glass because she's looking back, and I'm looking in the mirror to think what went well and what can we change moving forward for next year. So today's assembly is going to be all about reflection, and you'll be pleased to hear I'm not speaking a lot in this, because we've taped our boys and girls on their reflections from the year. So Mrs. Bradley's going to take us through that.
So just to begin, if we think about reflection, and as Mrs. Nicholson said, it's very much about looking back. And I think if we were to look back to this time last year, there have been so many changes. There have been so many changes due to the pandemic, but there's also been so many changes with each of you individually. And I think if you have your own personal tasks, you can look back and reflect on how much you've changed over the year. And throughout the assembly today, that's really what's going to be happening. We've got different snippets of our own children, so look out for your classmates, reflecting on different aspects of the year that they've had. So first of all, we have some of our primary 5 pupils reflecting on the school year. And it's been a really different year because you've been in school some of the time and you've been learning at home part of the time as well. So let's see what the primary 5s have to say.
2.
The year's been very difficult with COVID-19 and home learning. It was very hard with the parents, the teachers are more better. Lots of people died of the coronavirus. Very hard. So yeah, basically as Isaac said, it's been very hard for everybody, losing people close to them. And like Isaac said again, with the home learning, it was especially hard for us P5 because we were learning lots of different things at the time, and we were supposed to be going into more detail in, but the parents obviously learned it a different way in school, so it's getting very confusing.
So I think it was good to see that the children actually much prefer being in school with their own teachers than having their parents as teachers.
Absolutely at home. And I think what Charlotte was saying there about, lots of people have lost people this year, and I think the most important thing is that we're back in school and we're happy and healthy and we can still smile, which is great. So that was lovely to hear the primary 5's message.
I know. Okay, and this is Aidan in primary 5, and he's reflecting on his own personal learning journey, and he talks us through where he thinks he's really made great progress in his learning.
This year I've progressed in my learning through creative writing. Because I came into primary 5 with F3 and now I'm nearly S2, and my description is a lot better than it usually was.
Isn't that incredible that Aidan's reflecting that even though we've had that remote learning, his writing has absolutely progressed, and every single pupil in this school has made progress, and for that we're really, really proud. Really proud. Well done. And in fact the primary 5s have super impressed me, because at one point I went into their class and they had no chairs, and then another week I went in and they had no desks, and then at one point I was bombarded with lots of letters looking at how we can get therapy dogs into the school. So they've really been working on their persuasive writing, which has been fabulous to read. There's some politicians in the making there.
And I think that it shows that it's been so valuable, because Aidan has made such great progress himself, and he knows exactly where he is within his writing, and he's able to comment on that. And Rosanna and Amy for primary 5 are just going to reflect on their own personal achievements.
So I feel I can be more self-reliant and I have become more
I think I've become more self-confident, and also I think
being a lot kinder to myself because usually I put myself down.
Wow, and the fact that Rosanna's saying she's learned to be kinder to herself, because
That's so
sometimes we
important.
focus on kindness, but it's more about kindness to others. When in actual fact, this year, over all years, it's really important to be kind to yourself and sometimes give yourself that wee break. And the personal achievements, there have been loads, even though we've been in lockdown, and it's lovely to include some of them in our newsletter each month as well.
Absolutely. And I think the fact that Amy mentioned that she's made so many more friends this year, I think that's happened a lot for boys and girls, because within the class bubbles they've perhaps been encouraged to socialise with other children that they might not have had
And
they
they-
not been in their own
Yeah,
bubbles.
and we know that's been tough for some people because the bubbles have encouraged people to mix with people that they maybe wouldn't have, but also it's been hard for year groups who have been separated, and we totally understand that and empathise with that. And hopefully next year we'll be able to open up, depending on restrictions, hopefully we'll be able to open that up a wee bit more, and that's certainly the plan, particularly for boys and girls who are in composite classes, to mix with their year groups at playtime, but also we're looking at ways that we can develop year groups working together in their learning as well.
Absolutely, and we'll do that as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So, as you'll know, our primary sixes were stars on the News Round programme. So, and there was a snippet of that on News Round, but we thought it would be really good for the whole school to be able to see the whole film. So there were 3 different questions posed to the primary sixes, and the first question was how they actually feel about restrictions easing. And this was filmed a couple of weeks ago, so although we're now a few weeks into having those restrictions eased, this was just where we were on the cusp of things starting to open up. So we'll see what the primary sixes had to say.
How do you feel about restrictions?
I feel great about restrictions easing and just can't wait to visit places again and get back to all my clubs. I agree because I'm also quite excited about restrictions easing because I can see family and friends a bit more. I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing people and I'm relieved that it's getting safer because of the vaccine so my family and I can get out a bit more. I think the season so it's coming out after again because I don't get to see them that much and if some season I see them more and not upset. I feel quite nervous because we're going to see a lot more people. I am really happy because it means I can spend more time with my family and friends that I haven't seen in ages.
And I think the key message that came across there was family and friends.
The excitement of seeing
And the excitement of seeing in that reconnection with people, that was lovely, thank you.
Absolutely. And it just, I think you can just see how much the children are looking forward to being able to mix again and get out and do normal things like go to their clubs. It's lovely. And the next question that the boys and girls answered was what they really missed most about lockdown. And I think that family and friends is going to come through
I
again.
think so.
What did you miss most during lockdown and why?
I miss my football because I love football and I miss playing matches on Saturdays with my friends. I miss going to games out with my friends and family because I could do that when I wanted, but it kind of just got snatched away. I miss my friends and family because we couldn't visit and spend time together. I miss playing football with my friends and going to the cinema with my friends and family. I miss going out bowling with my family because most times I'm on the work. I miss having family birthday parties and Christmas together. I also miss having sleepovers at my granny and grandpa's because they give me lots of sweets.
And I think what shines through there is the children have missed things that we probably would consider quite normal, and they really have missed the things that we would normally take for granted.
Yeah, and I think this period has actually given us that renewed focus on the small things like going to the
What's
park
your
with your
go-to?
friends, you know, having a game of football. And even when we consider our primary sevens from last year, you know, we were very much in a different place of lockdown. The restrictions were so tough then, and we've relaxed a wee bit this year, so we can do a wee bit more. But lots of boys and girls have missed out in so much. But at the end of the day,
Moments in life.
it's about focusing on the wee small things and cherishing them,
And
because that's
appreciating
what's
what we do
important.
have. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And our last question, Mrs.
So our
Bradley.
last question was, what are the children most looking forward to now that the rules are relaxed?
What are you most looking forward to doing now that the rules have been relaxed?
I'm most looking forward to going abroad because I haven't been able to do that in 2 years.
I'm also looking forward to going to the climbing wall because it's awesome. I can't wait to go shopping trips with my mum to the cinema.
Can't wait to go on a family friend holiday and go to trampoline parks again. I can't wait to eat out as a spectator. I can't wait to go days out with my friends and go swimming again.
Wow, and just as we said earlier, it's just those wee normal things like going to the cinema, although I'm not sure I'd want to go to a climbing wall or a trampoline. I think I'm a wee bit too old for that now. But it just shows that we're all looking forward to things, and it's about that moving forward. Although we can reflect back on the year we've had, there's elements of that we can't change, and we had no control over, and that's the thing that I found most frustrating, that there's certain things we would have loved to have done but we've not been able to. But now moving forward, hopefully with the vaccine, and next year starting afresh and looking at where we go, and hopefully those restrictions will be eased a wee bit.
Absolutely, and we just hope that we'll be able to do lots of lovely things within the school again that we've not been able to do over the past year and a half.
But a huge thank you goes, and we said at the beginning of our assembly, but a huge thank you goes to the children, to their families, to the staff, because you have shown a resilience and a positivity that actually has been above and beyond, and we really appreciate it, because it's about our wee school community being at the heart of the village, and I'm really, really proud, so thank you everybody for that.
And we have a couple of weeks left, and our next assembly will be our final assembly for this year, and we'll be very much looking about celebrating all the positives of the year and how we look forward to next year.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend, and we will see you soon.
Bye.